It's time for build number 2 of our Traxxas Sledge project series, and this time we're building a wicked street truck. Let's head over to the workbench and I'll give you guys a peek of some of the parts going on the truck. Here's the collection of option parts for the street truck build. The whole focus of this project series is to show you what you could do with the different Traxxas option parts. So you go customize your truck, make it your own, and that's what we're gonna do with a lot of these red parts that you see here. I've got a simple scheme in mind. We're just gonna go black and red with this thing. I think it's gonna look absolutely wicked. Totally sick ripping down the street. So let's get into it. Over here is, again, just a lot of red parts. It's pretty much the factory parts. We're just gonna swap it out to red. I've got the front and rear shock tower. They're the 6061 shock towers, the rear wing plate, the suspension pin plates, the plates for the knuckles up front, and then a red chassis. That with the black is gonna look really sick, especially I've got the black wheelie bar, I've got the black center stiffener. I will of course have links for all this stuff in the video description. Moving on to the drivetrain, just went with CVs for the rears, red wheel hexes to go along with the red theme, and then I got the 46.2 spur gears, so I could go throw a big pinion on it, so we get a little speed out of it as well. Suspension tuning, not too much going on here. Red shock bodies. Did get some sway bars since it's going to be a street truck. I want to make sure that this thing doesn't roll too much in the corners. I'm going to add these suspension links. I do have a clear body, and then I got the red inserts for the body. It'll look pretty sick. And then since Traxxas doesn't have a street truck tire that I know of for the Sledge, I've got these Jetko tires. So what we're going to do now is I'm actually just going to go throw all these parts on and show you how it looks when it's all done. The street truck's built up and this thing looks absolutely sick. I love the chrome paint on here. It makes it look fast, just standing still. It's the Traxxas chrome with their black backer. It's easy to spray the chrome, but the backer you have to use a brush to apply it, and it takes a little bit of time to get the coating just right. But once it's done, it looks awesome. Now, to just customize the body a bit more, I went and added their inserts. They have these inserts in different colors. I went with the red because we got a lot of red accents on the truck. Actually painted the bed black as well. And then I threw the LED light kit on. I actually had this on another body, transferred it over to this. And it's just so I could have a little bit better visibility. I'll see the white lights in the front. I'll see the red in the rear when it's coming and going away from me. But man, it looks awesome. Absolutely slammed to the ground. The spoiler just has a red aluminum plate on top. They have that as an option as well. Sorry about all the scrapes on here. This is a used truck that I used for the base of this. Now for the tires, I was gonna go with a different tire from Jetko, but then I saw these SuperSonic tires and I got them in, and man, it just gives this truck an awesome aggressive look. Really cool stance on this, really cool tire as well. They're a bit grippy. It's catching every piece of dust that I have on my table. So I think these are gonna hook up really well. Let's pop the body off so I could show you some of the changes that I made underneath, and it's really a lot of cosmetic work here. Up front, I've got the red anodized shock tower and the red anodized shock bodies and the red anodized aluminum hinge pin plates. And that's really just cosmetic, guys. There's no performance benefit, just making myself, just build myself a really cool custom car. I did go and lower the shocks by putting a bunch of limiters on the inside, and to kind of figure out how to get this truck slammed, what I did is I dropped it down to a position where I liked the look of it, where I thought it'd be low enough. 80 weight oil in the shocks, and not many other changes made to the suspension as far as the arms. I left the stock knuckles and stock caster blocks. I did, however, change out the tie rods on this. This will allow me to go and adjust the camber since I went and slammed the truck down, and I could adjust the toe as well. Those are some nice options, those tube options from Traxxas. And then I added the sway bar kit as well. So I've got the red sway bar in the front, and I believe I've got green in the rear. Let me spin this thing around so you guys can see what changes have been made out back. Pretty much the same as the front. We've got the red anodized shock tower, the tubes camber links, and the sway bar, the red pin plates. And the only other change was to the drive shafts. I put the CV drive shaft kit in the rear. And then, as you can see, I've got the wheelie bar. I don't think this thing's gonna be doing wheelies, but we'll have to see, and that will help keep the thing in check if it does pull some wheelies. Now, in the center, let's go to the chassis. I swapped out the chassis plate for the red anodized version, and it's just a stock replacement. And up top, I went with the black anodized stiffener bar. Again, just black in color for the custom look. I forgot to get new steering parts for it to match all the colors. That's fine. I guess it matches the speed controller, but I did go and swap out the servo for the 400. All right, so drivetrain wise, the 46 tooth spur gear went in, and while I had the differential apart, I actually packed it full of 3M window weld. It's this really gummy type of substance, and that just locks out the center diff because I don't need the center diff in this. Then I threw a Robinson Racing, I believe it's a 21 tooth pinion gear on there, so it's gonna give it some more speed. And that's really about it. Threw on the cooling fan because we need to cool that motor down while it's swinging that big pinion gear. The rest of the electronics are pretty much stock. The stock motor, stock speed controller, stock receiver, and then I added the Traxxas link with the GPS module so I could go and track the speed on this using the Traxxas power cells. That's it for the mods. It was a really simple part swap for the shock towers, even the turnbuckles, the hinge pin plates. The differential took a little bit extra time because I changed up all the oils. But man, this thing looks really good as a street truck. Now we just have to go outside and see how it performs. All right, guys, so I'm out with the Street Sledge and I have a problem. I don't have a place where I can really run this beast at full throttle. It is absolutely insane. And the roads and parking lots around here are pretty beat up. And this thing is kind of bottoming out here and there, but God, it is so sick. Look at this thing, full throttle, yeah! I can't even get it up to full throttle. I'm gonna have to try to find another parking spot, I guess. All right, guys. Found a pretty good spot for it. This is a parking garage where I used to work. It's always a fun spot to go and drive on-road cars, but it's a lot smoother. And man, this thing's a rip here. Yeah! What I'm noticing with this thing is I've got it slammed down to like my X01 height, but that rear skid catches once in a while. That's my problem. I might just go and eliminate that and countersink the chassis so I don't have to deal with that. And I need to do a little bit of tuning, but I love power sliding this thing. It is so awesome. This is a fun build. Just don't have too many spots to run it.
So taking an off-road monster truck and turning it into an on-road street truck isn't really that easy. There's a lot to setting up a truck like this, and I got it pretty close. It's not totally dialed in. There's still a lot of changes I would like to make to this, such as, you know, the springs. I'd like to swap those out. I'd actually like to go and swap out some of the plastic parts, like the hubs and steering knuckles for aluminum parts, just to get rid of some of the slop and play with the oils a little bit more in everything. But I got it pretty close, guys, and I actually had a lot of fun driving it. Once I found a big enough parking lot to go and run this thing, that parking garage structure was a really good spot to just blast this thing around, and it was pretty awesome. Those power slides were absolutely epic. It's got some serious speed to it, and these tires really hook up. Now, I did go and speed test it. Actually wound up using my GNSS because I forgot to calculate the tire diameter to put into the Traxxas Link app. It's necessary to calculate the speed, so I'll just use that at another time. My first run with it, I had the two 3S packs in here, the 21 tooth pinion, the 46 tooth spur, and wound up getting 64 miles an hour out of it. brought it back, dialed the TSM out of it, and went back out for another run and hit 68 miles an hour. But in that run, it pulled one of the tires off the rims. So I could actually see the tire fluttering as it was speeding by me. So I didn't go back out for another one. Maybe I could have hit 70 with it, but 68 was pretty quick. Again, this was built for a street truck, just driving around in general. And when I did drive it around, I did lower the pinion gear. You're gonna have to do that so you don't overheat anything. But this was a pretty cool project. Again, it's to show you what you could do with your sledge. If you've got a nice big parking lot area, a nice flat area where you can go run a street truck and you're looking for something different to do with your sledge, maybe you want to try a street truck build such as this. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below. I'll have links in the video description, and make sure you subscribe so you see sledge build number 3.